Hey everybody, we're gonna talk about The Thing, 1982. It's my favorite horror movie, shared with Halloween 78 and 81 and 1999, The Blair Witch Project. I love those four movies, are my favorite horror movies. Now, don't have scenes, but I do have pictures and a few rare ones. So let's start. This is about deleted scenes, right? And outtakes and different endings. And Bill Lancaster, who wrote the first draft of the script. And then, of course, John Carpenter, too, he played with it. And eventually, there were a lot of different ways of storytelling, more things actually, more that pop up, and cooler kills too. But because of and Carpenter wanted those, but because of budget and time restraint, he couldn't. Starting with the deleted scenes, you've got the famous no, it's not the Mac intro. So Mac in his shack, and you have Norris coming in because he's saying about the Norwegian helicopter circling the camp. So these pictures are up here. Um, so that's actually how it starts. So it doesn't. It seems not to start with the chess game. This is the introduction of Mac. So he's just standing there. Although the chess game comes into play in a few other scenes. Um, then, uh, oh yeah, then they eventually, when they go to the Norwegian camp, they find another corpse with Copper and McCready, and they're there, and so they find the guy who committed suicide, and then and where the axe is in the wall, they go in. The guy commits suicide, and then they find the things outside. The melted head one. But apparently there was another corpse. But here's a picture. I can't really make it out what it is. The only thing I can make it out is there's an arm hanging like this, and maybe a face there. So that one, and that's the one of what I was laughing with because Mac's friend sex doll. So you've got multiple pictures of him. So you've got him. So you got Mac's friend here. You got a few of him having the doll in the shack, in his shack. Then you've got a lot of them where it just goes with the sex doll throughout the entire outpost and him drinking at the rec room on the bar with him. There's these black and white pictures that he's almost like taking her from behind. These, and it's funny because later on there's a rare deleted scene, a rare picture that comes to play with this sex doll. You would think everybody's giving it around. Now Norris' turn. Now it's Palmer's turn, Noel's turn. Child's turn. Okay, now it's McCready's turn. Then a cool scene that would have been in the first draft. That would be that was called Out on the Ice. So what would happen is during the chaos of the first dog thing, assembling, a few dogs run out, right? Now, when they killed the big thing that was actually created not by Rob Bottin but Stan Winston, who also created the Alien Queen of Aliens, um, they can't find the dogs, and they going after the dogs with snowmobiles. You got Mac, Childs, and Bennings, and at some point the dogs reach this ice, a water ocean line. They can't go away. Now they're seeing these guys coming at them with flamethrowers and all, and Bennings is the first to come, and eventually they turn into things. And there are only storyboards of this. Here's the storyboard, basically saying that the thing grabs Bennings out of a snowmobile into the snow. And that's how Bennings dies. There are a lot of kills that weren't done assimilating things. So these dogs were assimilated. Um, then and eventually Mac kills him, kills the things with a flamethrower. Also when Fuchs is missing, you've got a few other scenes. So there's the discovery of Fuchs in the greenhouse. Now, in the original thing, the thing from another world, you also have a greenhouse. Now, this greenhouse is barely used to grow cannabis by, I'm guessing, Knowles, Palmer, but also Childs. Now, Childs and Palmer are a search group, and then you got Knowles and Windows with McCready's a search group outside, and then it's the see. So they see that the roof apparently collapsed on their plants, and they're complaining. And then when the door shuts, you see a hanging Fuchs impaled by a shovel, and the original kill weapon, the weapon of choice would have been an axe in the body. But again, that doesn't really, compute with the thing's MO. He wants to assimilate. And of course, Palmer was a thing. He had a good chance to assimilate Childs there, right? Right? So that one. Then the discovery of Fuchs. Wait. Oh no, this is the other one. This is the rare one. Mac and Knowles, when they go into the shack after they discovered Fuchs' glasses atop of the snow, you see some blackness. Mac and sees that a light's on in his shack, and he says, "Knowles, we gotta go to my shack." And he says, "Why the hell for?" Because when I left, I turned my lights off. So they're going to the shack. You see a picture of them in the shack. You see that the roof is also caved in, and they stumble, and they are frightened by something, and it's apparently Mac's sex doll that's deflating and inflating around, and you see McCready holding his gun up that he got from Gary, and that's after Knowles cut the line. So that's a cool photo. Then Windows had also an alternate kill. Windows, when there's the moment when he sees a thing, so that's not he's not specifically killed by the Palmer thing, but this is at a point that everybody running, and Windows is the guy who runs away pretty fast. We see that when he goes for the shotguns, he did this and that. Now, the altercations between him and Palmer, um, it's ironic that Palmer would kill him in the end, but okay. Spoiler, sorry. But the alternative death of Windows is he's holding the door so the thing wouldn't get through. Eventually, the thing goes through, and he has in his pocket a cyanide pill. It pops it in the mouth, and then the thing takes his body through. So he kind of committed suicide with the cyanide pill and the thing. There's only screenshots of this scene. There they are. There's also a screenboards of Knowles encountering the Blair thing, and that the thing that we don't see is that apparently the Blair thing takes him with him under the wooden floor, and McCready sees this, and eventually he tries to help Knowles, and then like a chest buster, this tentacle bursts out of Knowles' chest, and he is just taken. He's dead. Okay, so let's go to these are the alternate deleted scenes, part two. So Fuchs' body was actually found in the snow. You've got two scenes here. I got one black and white, one in color. You see, because of the blizzard, you couldn't see the body, only a few shards of black in the glasses. But here you see the charred up body of Fuchs. You got a scene of them in the dining room, drinking and eating a little bit together. Then a scene of a few feudal scenes, like here's Copper and Windows, and I believe somebody else studying the tapes of the Norwegians. Um, you also have Palmer. The Palmer thing was actually not going to be this face that goes splits in twain. It's it actually was just Palmer would start bleeding all over his head. He bursts out of the ropes, and he still goes for Windows, probably thinking he was the douchebag against me. So here's that scene that he's going after Windows, who's scared out of his mind, and Palmer has all the blood on his face. There was also, but that scene never was taken, not even a picture, that he had this face that also cut in two, but that a laser sort of a laser somewhere would have been shooting out. That would be weird. We've got a picture of Knowles in the generator room. This is an extra picture not when before his unfortunate demise. The Bennings, and I think that one is made it to the TV cut, but not the kill scene. The kill scene you have is screenshot. The In the TV cut, Bennings dies in a different way. He hears something in the kennel, and that was meant so when they're looking for the missing dogs. Bennings is going to the kennel, Bennings, McCready, Childs, and then they take the snowmobiles, right? And he's looking and looking, but then we don't see anything. He hears something, but we don't see anything. And here's the aftermath. What he hears, it seems like a hooded figure putting an ice pick through his neck. Again, not the MO of the thing, right? And that scene didn't make it to the TV cut, but the investigation scene did. Um, there's also a cool scene where Blair, when he's in the shack, when they locked him up, he's making the rope to hang himself. So at that point, he was still human. That's also cool. Here's the picture of that. Also, there was an interrogation when McCready's outside. Clark was one of the main suspects, right? He was hanging around with the dogs a lot, and Charles didn't. There was also a feud between Clark and Childs. I think Clark was a little bit of a racist, although in that scene where he's interrogating him with a flamethrower in his face, Knowles is protecting Clark. So not a racism, it was just a Knowles and Childs thing. Sorry, Clark and Childs thing. Then you have, of course, the alternative endings. The TV cut had this weird ending when a chopper of a rescue crew. It had a more happier ending because it's the day after the burning. You see that it's the outpost. The sun is shining. There's all this smoke, but you do see again another dog running away, like in the beginning of the Norwegian camp. And like they said, what Bill Lancaster in his early draft said, there are a few dogs that run away but were infected by the dog thing because these cells just one organism is enough to be infected, right? That's what Fuchs says, not to eat from the same place but out of your own tin cans. And then there's this weird thing that's in there, like how in world will we kill these alien things of another planet? It's weird. It's like this narration straight out of a Discovery Channel documentary. Then you have another alternative ending where McCready would have been found, so he would have been saved. All these endings do not include Childs, weirdly enough. So there, that would have been shot in Rob Bottin, the special effects guys, studio Heartland Studios, and they would have had a camera and a dolly following it, the typical, the first person view Carpenter likes to use. And then we have a corridor, and at the end is a lighted area where we see McCready's in a medical room, sitting on a gurney, like, and then with one of those warm blankets over him, waiting for a blood test to be positive or negative. And they thought, no, no. The reason why they filmed that, but they didn't edit it. But there's still, Rob Bottin still has a few end rolls of that. Probably a few like snippets of scenes of that scene. So it was actually filmed, but I think Carpenter filmed a few different endings because if the producers thought, oh no, it's too gloomy the ending, because Carpenter likes his nihilistic approach of those ambiguous, creepy endings, which is cool, but he also shot because this time he knew there was a lot of money involved, a lot more at least, and he had a little bit more notoriety right after Halloween, and that's also why Ennio Morricone took over a lot of the soundtrack, which isn't a bad choice because that was a good soundtrack. But Carpenter does a good soundtrack too. But there was also a picture here that's confirmed by Carpenter where you see McCready during the night. Again, no childs. That McCready is sitting in the rubble of the outpost, and I think he has a lighter. If he has a lighter on, trying to survive. Will he be saved? Will he die in a slow, horrible way? You don't know. And that's always the reason why I thought, why didn't he just leave his shack? Because he had an oil furnace, he could store drinks in there and food, No, because the rooftop was gone for a big part, so that wasn't an option either. So that picture shows that McCready was alone. There are also stories about Childs said, I'm going alone. I'm going alone. I'm going to find another outpost. And he goes on foot. And John Carpenter himself said that the video game, The Thing for PlayStation 2, is actually canon. And he said it himself, where they find Child's dead body frozen, and especially at the end find McCready alive, coming from McMurdo's station to help this rescue team. So he wasn't a thing, and Charles wasn't a thing either apparently. But he just went. Charles was this knucklehead, right? And then one last thing. McMurdo Station is actually a real place. Here's a cool picture of it. It's a American large uh, Antarctic facility. So it's only for I'm guessing only for American people. But apparently he had a lot of these large bases for Norwegian people, Russians, uh, and so on and so on. Of course, during the movie, it's I think the Cold War is happening, so the Russians probably had their own landing pad. So that being said, I hope you liked it. I hope you saw a few new things that you didn't see yet. So, like, comment, subscribe. It's all free, it's all good. See you later. Bye bye.